Well, you've made it to the final section, and we're going to work on the to earn an A items. So the first step is to do everything in the B category plus the additional items. First thing it asks you in step 2 is to open the label sponsors. So we'll double click to open it. And because we took out sponsor state, it's telling us that there's an error here, because we took that out in level B to put in the lookup area. But we'll just say OK for now, knowing that it's not pulling in the state the way it's supposed to. So what we need to do is we need to go in back home, view, and design view. And where it has sponsor state, which is what it used to be called, if you go back to level earn a C and you go into step 9, you can see that it's titled sponsor state. Well, we're going to change that to sponsor state ABV, which is what we've named it in one of the steps in to earn a B area under step 5. Once we've got that in place, let's go ahead and view it to make sure that the information is pulling correctly. So we go back to report view, and we now see that it's pulling our state. So we're set there. Let's go ahead and close that, and we're ready to move to step 3. Create a report showing only the following information: player name, at-bats, hits. So we're going to go into Report Wizard, and we want information from the players table. So we want player name, at-bats, hits. Next. It doesn't have us do anything special, so we name it RPT player hits and finish. Let's go ahead and make it smaller so we can see it. Now we're going to create a calculated field after hits that shows the average number of hits a player has. And we're going to need to adjust this name field so that there's room to add another column. So we're going to close print preview. Then we can start making our adjustments in our report. So I'm going to reduce the size of player name. I'm going to pull at-bats over. I'm going to pull hits over. And then I need to add another text box, so I come up above, click on text box, and go ahead and enter the information. You'll see how it automatically, it's kind of hard to read, but it has EXT9 and then unbound. Well, if I right click on it, on layout, I can create tabular, and it'll automatically pull it above and below. And that way it'll line up correctly. And I need to give it, well, let's see. There's 2 ways. Well, there's more than 2, but I can come in and I can change the text here, which is a nice easy way. Or if I happen to be in the property sheet where it has caption, I can change and say, let's see what I want it to say, average hits in the caption field, and it'll show here. Then create a calculated field that shows the average number of hits a player has, and it's hits divided by at-bats. Well, I can either do equals, bracket, hits, closing bracket, and then bracket, at-bat, closing bracket. Or if I'm not quite sure how to set up the calculated field, I can go in and let Access do it for me. So I click on my box, and then I right click and I go to Build Event, and I go to Expression Builder. And just as with Excel, you always use an equals because you want the information in this box is equal to, and you want hits divided by at-bats. And then you just copy it and paste it into the space. And then in Property Sheet, change the format to percent and decimal places to 0. So I'm already in this square, so I can click on Property Sheet, and I want decimal places set to 0, and I want my format to be percent. And I can close it. Let's take a look. So now I've got my average hits, and I've got each one of my areas that I can pull from. Very nice. And I can close this. Step 4, create a report showing only the following information. So we're going to go back to Create if we're not already there. We're going to go to Report, and we want sponsor information. So we want sponsor name, team name. So we're going to go into Teams, team name, and player name, players, player name. Because we've set up our relationships and all of the tables are related, we can go ahead and we can pull information from each one so that we only have to list the teams one time and the players one time and sponsors one time, and it will allow us to work together with all of the tables. It's very cool. Okay. Once we've got our 3 areas selected, and we're going to move down to the next step in number 4, group first by sponsor, then by team. So next we're going to group by sponsor, then by team. We're going to sort ascending by player. And we're going to use the stepped layout in portrait orientation, and we're going to save the report as RPT sponsors and finish. Now right now the end labels are not user friendly. We've got RPT and sponsor name and things right together. So in step 5 it asks us to adjust all headers to be end user friendly and verify all form and report labels are user friendly. Then we want to do this for each one of our forms and reports. So we're going to go back in, close Print Preview and Design View. And we want sponsors, and then we can put spaces in for our names, and we're set there, and we can view it to make sure it's very pretty, and it is. And we want to save it, and then we want to come in here into our next table and open it in Design View, Average Player Hits, and maybe I want to make this align center, and I want to make this a little smaller. Basically you're just going in and tweaking and making sure things look nice. There you go. And you do this for each table. You do it for all of the pieces of your entire database so that it's an attractive database that is easy for your end user to work with. Once you have everything finished for and laid out correctly, then you have earned an A for the project. And before you submit, make sure that you have closed your database. It won't load correctly if you don't actually close the whole database before uploading. You don't need to print anything because I'm going to take a look at the back-end design of the entire database. And that concludes the project.